Greetings, everyone. This is Mark Knitka from the College of Liberal Arts, here with Dr. Tim Rice from the College of Doctoral Studies. And in this segment, we're going to go over some less common, more unique sources and assignments that you might use in your course. So first, I'm going to talk about the capstone and the capstone components, both papers and presentations. Then talk about worksheets, reflective journals, case studies, laboratory exercises, and self-assessment. And then Dr. Rice is going to go over collaborative group projects, interviews, in-class diagnostic assessments, in-class treatment plans, questionnaires, and portfolio. So we'll get into the credit hour document. And we're going to start at, in the undergraduate time map, this would be for a 5-week-long undergraduate course, but it could easily be adapted for other lengths and other programs. So under the capstone written assignment, we're in week 4, and we're going to assume that in this course there is a 10-page capstone paper. Obviously, you could change the length, 15, 20 pages, but for this example, we're going to go with 10 pages. And in weeks 1 through 4, the students will write 2 pages of that 10-page paper, and then they'll do the final 2 pages and put the entire thing together in week 5. So as you can see under this capstone written assignment, it is listed at 120 to 180 minutes per page. That's to give you a little bit of flexibility to adjust for the difficulty of the content and the writing. And then also you could go higher in the minutes if you're using more than 12 scholarly sources, which is included. You know, if you're using less than 12 scholarly sources, you might go to the lower end of the 120 minute, you know, the 120 to 180 minute range. In this case, we encourage you to go with the middle value, the average, unless you have a strong case to go up or down. So we're going to say in weeks 1 through 4, it will be 2 pages at 150 minutes per page, average difficulty level writing. And this does include other work as the student progresses, including revising, editing, and those types of activities. So for each of the 4 weeks, this is going to clock in at 300 minutes per week. And then if we look at the same category in week 5, we will show you the final calculation. So the capstone written assignment, as you can see, the components are 120 to 180 minutes per page, but the entire assignment itself is 240 to 360 minutes per page. We encourage you to pick the, you know, you should have the same ratio of time. So if you went on the 120 minute for the components, then it would be 240 for the assignment, and, you know, vice versa, like 180 would translate to 360. So in our case, the 10 pages at 300 minutes per page would give us actually 3,000 minutes. But since we had 8 pages that were previously completed towards this project in weeks 1 through 4, and those were completed at a rate at 150 minutes per page, we subtract that. So that's 1,200 minutes. So 3,000 minus 1,200 gives us 1,800. So that in each week, you're representing the work that the students are putting in towards the final capstone assignment, and then you're subtracting that out from the final calculation of what the total pages for the capstone assignment would be. And this is pretty much the same way that the summative assignment components and then the final summative assignment works in a lot of other courses. Since it's the capstone, you know, it draws from the students' entire major discipline experience, you know, towards the end of their academic career. And that's why the times and kind of specifics are a little bit different for the capstone assignment. So after that, we're going to look at worksheets. And worksheets are pretty self-explanatory. They are allocated at 30 to 60 minutes per page, including preparation and writing. And when you're creating a worksheet, you should, for a course, you should think about something that could be completed in 30 to 60 minutes per page of the worksheet. So a worksheet could include different types of activities, short essay prompts, you know, really any sort of activity that is fit into a pre-structured sheet that students have to go through. So, you know, and if you are having questions about, you know, what time range, you know, that obviously the course developer, instructional designer, everybody working on the course should kind of weigh in on the different aspects. And then you can also always reach out to your credit hour committee member for your college. Next, we're going to talk about reflective journals. These are journals where students are reflecting on their course experience. You know, you might have them reflect on what was the most interesting thing that they learned that week, what did they struggle with, any number of things on a prompt, and this is usually graded just for completion or maybe a certain content requirement, but it's not graded on, you know, specific kind of criteria or like a very detailed grading rubric, and it's for the purpose of self-reflection. And those are graded at 30 to 60 minutes per reflective journal based on length and based somewhat on the complexity of the instrument. Next, I'm going to talk about case study analysis. This is where students are given usually some sort of written component that they have to read over. You know, it's some sort of either real world example or some sort of scenario-based situation where students kind of have to process a lot of information, and then they have to write based on some sort of prompt, some sort of solution, or how it come to that case study. It's a little bit different than other papers in that, you know, you're providing most of the content. The students aren't having to find outside sources, but they do need to carefully go over all of the resources that are provided as part of the case study and then write a paper based on that. And then, so that is at 120 to 150 minutes per page. And that includes any research that they need to do, pre-writing, drafting, revising, and even, you know, reading some of the case material. So, yeah. Next, we'll talk about self-assessments. These are similar to a reflective journal, but they might be in the form of a quiz or some other type of activity, but usually are just graded on completion, not graded on, you know, how many answers the student gets correct or incorrect. And this is for the purpose of the student evaluating their own progress in mastery of the course material. And that is also at 30 to 60 minutes, depending on length and complexity. So, you know, if we had, maybe we have 3 self-assessment quizzes, or I guess it actually would just be probably one per week. And it's not very extensive, so we're going to put it at 30 minutes. And in there, you can even put like 10 questions or something, if that's how many is on the quiz, per se. Next, we are going to talk about laboratory exercises. And so laboratory exercises, they can be science laboratories, they could be like a math laboratory type exercise, and language, any course that incorporates something that would be considered a laboratory exercise. And this is ranges from, it's a large range, 240 to 720 minutes per lab. It's best to assess these on a case-by-case basis. Sometimes if you're getting the lab from some sort of outside vendor that has produced the material, they should be able to provide you with an average time for completion from their experience from student feedback. So, you know, in this case, maybe we have one laboratory exercise, and the producer of that laboratory exercise has rated it at 240 minutes or 4 hours. So we would enter that like so. Yeah, and once again, it's very dependent on the lab, how extensive it is, how many experiments or exercises that the student's going through. So yeah, it really has to be evaluated either by the third-party provider of the lab or exercise program, or by the course developers themselves, also taking into account additional time that students might need to navigate the material, to familiarize themselves with that. And then last, we're going to talk about, we already talked about self-assessment. So I did want to just talk real quickly, the same thing with the capstone that I showed for a written assignment. It works the same way if the capstone is an oral or media presentation. Each week you would, if there was a component in the first weeks of the course, you would enter that at the rate of 30 to 60 minutes per slide or minute of recorded presentation. And that includes all of the sources, research preparation, creating the slides, rehearsal, editing, and then final submission. So same thing. And then in week 5, you would calculate the total capstone presentation time and then subtract out any components from the previous weeks to get the final week 5 total. And that's all that I have, and I'm going to turn it over to Tim to talk about those other components now.
Perfect.
Yeah, not perfect, but
yeah, but you got the information out. That's the most important thing.
Whew. I had to keep checking the slide because I was like, I'm confused, or I forgot like the order that I put it in, but that's
Go ahead
fine.
and
I was
share
able.
real quick.
Yeah, sure.
All right, I'll go ahead and get this, and I will go to. Almost there. Okay. In 3, 2, 1. Here we go with the final 6 areas on the tool that are less common or unique sources or assignments. Just talk about them real quickly. These 6 right here: collaborative group projects, interviews, in-class diagnostic assessments, in-class treatment plans, questionnaires, and portfolio. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my document here. And the first thing we will look at will be the actual collaborative group project. Now, the one thing about this, and there are some classes obviously are going to have this, but the one thing pertaining to this tool is that a collaborative group project is evaluated basically on a case-by-case basis. And it's going to include preparation, application, analysis, and reporting. So what I did in this document, to just give you kind of an example, I looked at it and came up with my own collaborative group project where every student would be given 2 hours a week for completion of the weekly assigned portion of the project. And so I added the 2 hours over in the, excuse me, in the, actually, I'm going to go here, not 2 hours, but it'd be 120 minutes. And made sure that that was in there. And I made sure to be very clear in what I was going to have for this. Again, case-by-case basis. The next place that we're going to look at is interviews. This would be in a situation where students or in a class might be going out and interviewing a professional in the field. And so 45 minutes per question on these interviews. That includes all the pre-writing, revising, editing, actual conducting the interview, and the results after the interview, and then publishing that final draft. It does not include the travel time. And in my example here, I put down 5 questions that were interview questions at 45 minutes per question. Again, tried to be very clear on that, and then came up with the 225 minutes. Next would be in-class diagnostic assessment. So an in-class diagnostic assessment is a diagnostic, it's basically a pre-test which serves as a barometer for how much preloaded information a student has about a topic. It helps tell the faculty member and the student how much they know and do not know about an upcoming topic. Many classes will use these pertaining to, counseling. Some education classes may use them. As you can look right here, let's just say you do, 2 assessments in a week. Probably be a lot. Let's just say you do 1 assessment. So you do 1 assessment at 90 minutes. And then come over here and you put the 90 minutes in and it brings it up. And again, well, one thing too, if you're using video, the video viewing time plus 90 minutes should be included. So if, say, for instance, we do use a video, we can change this 1 assessment at 90 minutes. And then we can state video time of 60 minutes. And then we can go over here and we can put down the actual add to 60 minutes. So that'd be 150. So there you have that. As far as the in-class treatment plan, it's an assignment that asks students to create detailed plan for a case study, which consists of the following parts: presenting a problem, diagnosis and symptoms, a goal, objectives, and appropriate interventions. This assignment uses up to 2 required references typically. And what an in-class treatment plan is, it's basically going to be used many times in counseling classes. So what we would basically do if we are coming up with a treatment plan for, one, for 1 each week here, we would basically, obviously, put in 1 treatment plan at 90 minutes. Then you would put in the 90 minutes and it brings it up. The next one would be a questionnaire. And again, this is if you're completing a questionnaire or a student is completing a questionnaire for the assignment. And then you can add 45 minutes for instrument layout and formatting if you're creating a questionnaire. So let's just look at it from this perspective. If I have the example here of the student completing it, so they have 10 questions to complete the questionnaire, and I gave them 4 minutes as it states here in the directions, so 40 minutes. But if I were to have a situation where they are actually developing the layout itself, I would pretty much have 45 minutes for layout development. And there you have it. So then I can add another 45 minutes if need be. If they're just developing it, obviously I can take the 10 questions off, and then I've got 45 minutes and I can put it right there. It all depends on what the actual assignment is. And then lastly, Portfolium. Coming down here, actually right there, each classroom is going to have Portfolium now. And what Portfolium is, it refers to a social networking platform. It's similar in some ways to LinkedIn, and it allows university students to, and also recent graduates, to connect with businesses and employers and present their previous academic work and projects to supplement their resumes. So these are found in the classes in classrooms at AU now. And so what I would do is basically put in my case, again, because it's a doctoral classroom in my situation, I would put down 15 minutes for the Portfolium for the week, because it'd be the lowest number. Again, it's a scale between 15 to 30 minutes. It is a great tool for our students. We're finding a lot of students are using them right now and getting a lot of good opportunities from it. So that is the last 6 areas that look at the unique sources and assignments. And so we will close up this presentation right now. All right, Mark, I'm done.
Awesome. What about the last page of the questions?
Oh yes, I stopped so we could just add that right now.
Okay, cool.
So if you want to go ahead and take that away, you can. I'm definitely fine with that. And you can go ahead and share if you'd like.
All right. We'll start in 3, 2. Thanks, Tim. We hope that you found these valuable, these examples. Of course, every course is going to be a little bit different. Every developer is going to possibly come up with some new and interesting activities, learning assessments, and maybe even new sources that we didn't think of. So you can access this training and the credit hour analysis tool both through your college or division CDO module, which is accessible through your administrative login, and also the Course Design Cafe, which will also have the frequently asked questions documents and any other training materials, as well as the contact information for the current credit hour analysis committee representatives from each college and division. So you can, if you run into issues, you can contact your representative with questions and, figure out where any activities fit in or how to calculate them if you're having additional challenges. You can also, questions and also completed documents are submitted to credithour@ashford.edu. And your completed credit hour documents will also be sent to your program manager with the completed course development resources. And you should also keep a copy of the credit hour analysis tool for your records, both obviously a blank one and any courses that you have evaluated. So that is it. We hope that you enjoyed the presentations, and good luck in all of your course developments.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.